Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Ripple Effect. And today I have Jessica. I am Kim. We're here from Solidarity Community Federal Credit Union. And Jessica, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am grand. I'm grand.
Looking good in that blue today.
Hey, matches my hair.
Oh, not yet. It doesn't.
Oh, it can.
Are you calling yourself a blue hair?
I could be. I feel like it some days.
You shouldn't.
We have a special guest today.
We do. Mary is with us from AYUSA, AUSA, Academic Year USA. I think I explained that 3 times perfectly well. Mary, let's talk a little bit first. What is AUSA?
AYUSA is a not-for-profit exchange student organization for high school students.
Okay.
Wow. So like all the schools, you help with exchange students?
Yes, so it's a program that whatever country the kids come from, their parents would sign them up to come through our program. So we have partners all over the world, as far as Germany and Chile and, France. We work with partners. And then those students sign up, and then they come over here looking for host families. Well, they don't come over here till the host families take them and choose them. And once that all is taken care of, then the student will come over here and live with you for 5 to 10 months, depending on what their program is and what they want to do.
So how do you know, where you're going to send them?
So basically, AYUSA is based out of California. They've been around since 1981. And it's like an umbrella under Intrax. But those families put their kid, I have a portal I get on, and I can see all the students from all the different countries and what they like. And so you, as a host family, would pick out the student that you want. And so it's all over USA of where these students will go. So I see all the students, but that doesn't mean they're going to come to Indiana.
Okay.
So you're like a matchmaker for exchange students
pretty much.
to match them up with the families.
Pretty much, yes. Yes.
How did you get involved with this? I feel like there's some type of origin story here.
Well, I was always seeing friends of ours, nothing local, that they would host students. And there was one day I was driving, probably about 7 years ago, and I saw a sign that where I live, they needed a family. So I kind of reached out to that person, and she turned around and said, "Oh, we'll come do a family interview to see why you want to host." And so we had a family interview, and then our school system only takes 5, and each school can take as many as they want to, really. And so it's very tough. And so it took like 2 years, really, for me to be able to host a student, and we chose one from Germany. And when he first got there, I said, "You're not going home," because he was just really sweet. And so basically, he just became part of our family. And then I actually was lucky enough, because I've always been in light culture, never have traveled anywhere, but always loved that culture. And if somebody does go somewhere, and like I said, with people having exchange students, I've really enjoyed it, kind of living through them with that. And so last year, actually, just a little over a year ago, I was actually able to go to Germany and see our exchange son and meet his parents and one of his brothers. So I was like a little kid.
Oh,
I bet.
That was so fun. I mean, you're the parent for almost a year for these kiddos.
Yeah, and as much as you can be parent to somebody else's kid, but yes.
And it's a lot of trust from the parents.
It is, yes. And his mom was saying how when he first was going over there, she was very nervous, but when he got here and sent her all kinds of things, she wasn't worried anymore.
Oh yeah, it's got to be very nerve-wracking to send. So do you have children in the home still, or is that encouraged? How does that work?
No, actually, we are now, well, our youngest is in college, and so we are actually empty nesters, but he actually met our 2 daughters that are already out of the home. And anybody can host that's 25 and above. You can be retired, you can be single, you can be, never had any kids. I have 7 kids this year right now that I am a CR for coordinator. And I have one lady, she's single. Her son is grown and she's enjoying a daughter. And I have another lady, she was married, but her husband passed away years ago, never had any kids, and she's double hosting.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
And I have a single dad who has his daughter, and so I've got 3 single people this year.
I think that's really great.
Yeah.
I think that's so great because so many times you think, well, it has to be a married couple in order to do this, and this.
Right.
It does not.
No, it
has
does
to be a
not.
safe person.
It does.
Yep.
Yeah. You have a background check. And we check
That's
you
what I
out.
was going to ask you. You go through an interview, background
Yes.
check, and
we check references, and if there's single people, we actually do a little bit more than just the 3 or 5. We kind of do a little bit more because they're single.
do you have to make sure that they're financially capable of feeding them?
Well, yes. So there is you can't be on government food stamps or anything like that.
Okay.
But pretty much as far as I can explain what a host is supposed to do, we ask for a bed. It doesn't have to be their own bedroom if they have kids. It has to be somebody the same gender and age, but they can have a shared bedroom. They ask you to provide 3 meals a day when they're with you. And I say that because if they go out with a friend, you don't need to give them money to go
It's like
pay
a high
for their
school.
food.
It's like having a high schooler. Yeah, it is.
Yep. And so, but then reasonable transportation and just love and enthusiasm.
Sure.
So, and they come with their own personal spending money. So, like, you don't have to provide for their shampoos and their personal products. That's on them, or their clothing. If you go on a family trip, you're not expected to pay that either. Oh, wow. The family can pay for it, and they're willing to pay for it because you're taking their kids somewhere. So basically, they do come with their own personal spending money.
Do the students go through an orientation with you when they get here?
Yes, they go through one when they leave, before they leave, and then I am the coordinator. And basically, when they're in here, like in 2 weeks, within that frame, I have met with them and I have gone over the rules of AYUSA and what's expected of them.
So
A translator?
No, they all speak English.
Okay.
Now, they might have a little bit of, kind of translating it, but they have to pass a certain standard of English. So basically, they are, you can look at the numbers and basically that means something. If they don't read a certain standard, they're not going to be able to kind of.
Okay.
And kids who come over generally from overseas are probably higher achievers and excel in more things, especially if they're learning a full second language. And
Well, I think they learn more than just like 2 languages.
Probably.
Most of them have like 3 or 4 languages that they have to.
Yeah, some
achieve
of them,
in their
some of them
schools.
have to. I mean, and what's funny, what was nice is what's on their profile. So if you're going to choose a student, you can see that whole entire profile. You can see why they want to come here. You can see what their activities they want to do, as far as what they like to do, what their interests are. The parents write a letter, and so that we have videos. You can't see them until you're vetted, meaning you've gone through that interview process. And but it's something that. You can also, with the video, you can hear them speaking.
Right.
okay.
So,
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
So you need host families. And how many do you need?
I mean, as many as I can get, actually.
So are we at that time of year where we're kind of waiting until the 2025-26 school year starts to bring over an exchange student?
Well, actually, right now, we are placing students
Great.
because so there's different placement seasons, they call it. And so basically, we just got done with placing for semester students, so the spring. And I have a spring student coming that's going to live in Greenfield. And so now that it's in October, basically, it started. So there are students looking to come for also the fall semester
Okay.
and the whole fall school year. So now is the time that you would want to get involved, because if you have a school that only takes a certain amount, really the process to take it to select your student, the schools might start saying, hey, we take 5 students and we need all the applications in by February.
Okay, so the parent would apply at the school?
No.
They get with you?
Yep.
Okay, and then you would...
Then that I do through the process, and then basically like I have to reach out to the schools. Some schools I work with and I know, and so they know me. Other schools, it might be I've never had a student yet in that school, and I reach out to them and I say, hey, this family wants to host the student, and what's your process? And usually they're going to get applications and they're going to look at the student to see if it's a student that they want to, based on what they see probably as educational level.
Oh, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
Do the schools decide here locally, hey, I want an exchange student, or does the student decide, hey, I want to go to that school?
No, the school doesn't decide. You know, if you had a soccer coach, you can't say, "Hey, we want this soccer player."
That's what I
I
wondered.
bet you can.
Or a basketball player. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. And some of those questions are even asked. You know, are you this, and you can't do that.
That makes sense.
And the schools, now the kids, when they're doing their application, they can turn and say, hey, I want to go to Florida. Hey, I want to go to Utah. Hey, I don't think many say they want to come to Indiana.
I was just going to ask, do we get a request? I mean, they got to see
Come with the shovel.
Yeah. But they do enjoy, when my kids get here, they have enjoyed. And I call them my kids because they are the students that I am the coordinator. And I keep, like I said, I do a 2-week interview. So I go over host rules with them. I meet also with the families before the student gets here. So I'll help with the families to kind of go over the book that AYUSA has for their policies, so they understand how that goes and works. And it's a lot. And so basically, I'm always there for questions.
Oh, yeah.
And every month there's a check-in with the families and the students, and every other once in a while there's a check-in with the school, because I get their grades and see how they're doing in school. And so there's, every month there's contact with me, at least once a month, if not more.
Now, what happens if they get there and it's not a good fit? What happens then?
Basically, what we try to do is talk to the student, find out what's going on. I always am, my families are very important to me, because they're the ones that are hosting. And I want to make sure, what are your family rules? What do you find the students not? And so you kind of have a talk with them. You kind of have, guidance for them to say, okay, we think we can work on this better, and because you have cultural differences that,
sure.
we don't think it's a big problem, but they do, or vice versa. And so, and sometimes you get a kid that's just, they go easy and there's no problems. But if there is, we kind of work with you. If it really becomes a big problem where, unfortunately, we just say, okay, this isn't going to work, and we try to find them another family. And sometimes, unfortunately, if you live in a small district, you might still see that kid in school because you go to school together. But,
you brought him here.
Yep.
How many coordinators are there across the state of Indiana, or are you just the only one for Indiana?
Indiana, I know there's definitely 2 of us for AYUSA. Now, other agencies, there's all kinds of coordinators, and I didn't realize how many organizations there were. And some, I guess, scaling what people find, they say, and I'm reading a lot of stuff in social media as far as groups that I'm part of, and they will say, the organization is one thing, but it's your coordinator. It's who that person is going to be there to support you and try to help you with that student.
Well, it's almost like a sales job, and it can't be easy, because I imagine a lot of people are like, no, or there has to be a little bit of cajoling to be like, you would be a great fit for this. I know you're a little bit interested. What are you worried about? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You're the connector.
Yep. And so it's, it's a job that it's like, you got to have thick skin sometimes, I guess. But I don't feel like I have that degree in, counseling, but, I learn every year with the students I have, and,
You care.
Yeah.
I think sometimes
and
that's
I think
all
you
it
do
takes.
have to care,
Oh, yeah.
And it is. We're there for the kids, but I'm also there for the family, because I'm in a business in my 40 years, and every single person that I deal with is a client, no matter what.
Right.
And so if I don't please that client, you're not going to tell your friends,
Yep.
Right.
and you're never going to want to host again. So I think when people talk about your coordinator is very important to you, I agree with that.
So let's talk about the process. Someone is interested in bringing an exchange student to their home, whether it's in Howard or the surrounding counties, and we're watching this podcast and we think, okay, Mary's the lady I reach out to. So we reach out to you, and then what?
Then I would have you get online to www.ayusa.org, their website. There is where you start an application. So you're going to get on there and you're going to fill in where you live, what school district you're in, what's your community like, what things you like to do that interest you, and just fill in. You write a parent letter to the possible student that you might host, and you tell them about yourself and about your family. And then I would come to your house, and I would have like a interview to why you want to host. You answer some questions, and you have a background check. I also will take pictures of the student where the student will be sleeping, the bathroom they will share, the common areas in the house. And then that gets to the main office in California. They kind of do all their process, and then they will approve the family.
So this is a random question, and only because I always have to ask this. Now, I have epilepsy, and it's kind of a new thing, but would I be allowed to host if I had a medical issue like that?
I think, yep.
Well, that's great news.
So are you going to do it?
Well, we've got 4 already. So we might have to wait for a room to come open.
Yeah.
Would you host me?
Always.
See, I knew
We'd
it.
have to share a bed, but
But you would pay for my 3 meals?
yeah.
Okay, I knew it. It was coming.
Anything you wanted.
And, there are some students that might have some epilepsy or they have some kind of ADD or something.
Sure.
Or they might have a sibling themselves that have that and have disabilities, and you can read that in the student's side. And so sometimes those make up great matches too, because you can you understand that issue, and it works out.
A lot of the kids, the foreign exchange students that come over here, they pay for their ways to come over here, don't they? Like their parents raise the money for their tickets, which are not cheap, to fly over, and then their host family funds their meals and sometimes their extracurricular activities that they may get involved in. But for the most part, the kids pay for their own way.
Yeah. They're going to pay for all the extracurriculars, so there's sports fees, graduation fees, that's all on the family. I mean, the natural parents. And the host families, again, like you kind of said, you're providing a bed, their meals that they're eating with you, and reasonable transportation.
And your family.
Yeah,
and you're their family.
And treating them like family is so different from so many people to what you can afford to do, what you give them. So we tell the students, do not compare your family to your family, because they can be completely different, especially the celebrating holidays.
Sure.
They want to come over here and they want to experience Thanksgiving. Well, what happens if they're in a family that really doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving? But we tell them, or some don't celebrate Christmas because maybe they happen to be a Jewish family or something, but they have a different way of celebrating.
Right.
Those are things that are all vetted out beforehand, right?
Yeah, they are. But I mean, sometimes you don't think about that, which, sometimes I learn as I'm going along and being a coordinator. It's like, hey, what do you do for Christmas? Because then, understanding the kid. But
I think it would be interesting to spend a holiday with somebody who doesn't celebrate like you do. I mean, I know what Christmas is like at our house, but it would be interesting to celebrate something else, something different. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'll be over at Christmas.
All right. Open-minded.
And even you think what my mind went to is like food. You might be vegetarian. Well, there's a lot of kids that want to be vegetarian. So, even those things to some of the kids will say, I'm a vegetarian, but I don't expect my host family to be that way.
Right.
So just as long as you kind of figure out what you can provide for them while they're with you.
I think that's really cool. Or just everybody try something new.
I know some host families.
Yeah. And they have connections with these kiddos forever.
They do.
Where I grew up, we have a very close family friends that they had Anicio from Brazil who came to live with them while he was in high school. He stayed for college, and he stayed, for probably 15 years before he went back. It's like a cousin. I mean, he's a family member. We love him.
It's kind of like learning culture right in your own living room, and you don't have to travel. And if you did want to travel, like I said earlier, I mean, I went and got to visit my student last year, and I was like a little kid, because I got to meet his parents and one of his brothers, and we exchanged back and forth back Thanksgiving past, and they sent us a message before we did to say, okay, happy Thanksgiving, what are you having?
So will you host again?
I do, but on the other hand, where I live, they only take so many. But if I have an issue with a student, or they don't, say their family needs to go out of town and they don't, I kind of have to host them. So I'm kind of limited. And if I have too many, and where I live, I'd rather give somebody else the opportunity, because like I said, this year I have 6. Last year I had 11 students that I coordinated over.
Oh my gosh.
So it's kind of like if I needed, time with kids, I mean, I only have limited space where I can keep them too.
Sure.
So
my niece was a host.
Yeah.
And so the girl was from Finland, and she said, this is Christmas. I don't know what to do. And I said, girl, come on, let's get in a car. We're going shopping.
Let's go.
Yeah. So we loaded up in the car and we spent the whole day shopping. It was so much fun. Yeah. She said, I just can't believe this. I've not done this before. And I was like, come on, let's shop. Let's go. Let's just go do it.
It's really cool, and
Yeah,
it's
it was
eye-opening
fun.
for everybody.
It can be apprehensive, I think, in the beginning when you're first because you're nervous. But again, there I am to help and answer questions. And
Yeah.
I would, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to reach out to my regional manager, which lives in a different state, and my regional support specialist that lives in a different state. So they just have it's grouped into sections. So I have a regional manager and support specialist different than maybe Florida or California, just because we have different. There's so many. The states are so big, obviously, and then we have different people who manage us.
We talked a lot about having a foreign exchange student, and I think a lot of people watching right now are probably giving it some thought. Like,
I hope so.
maybe this would be a good thing if I have an only child. Or, they can be whether they're older students and you have young kids or vice versa. It can be really a little bit of anything.
Yes, yes.
Where do we start? What's the first step we make if we want an exchange student?
Well, you can reach out to me first by email or phone number, like I said, or you can get on AYUSA's website and basically, so because there's two coordinators, if they might kind of pair you with that one, or sometimes, and if it's somebody's close enough with that 120-mile radius, hopefully they'll pair you to me. You can request me, I guess.
Ask for
What's a
Mary.
good phone number for them to contact you?
317-774-9961.
And your email?
It's M, and I'm going to spell this because my last name is Lupacino. So MLUPACCHINO @ayusa.org.
I bet that Heidi will do us a huge favor and put that in the caption. So if you have questions about it, you can see that. When I got married, my last name is Osbrook, and my youngest stepdaughter said, just be prepared to spell it every time you say it.
I say cappuccino but it's Lupacino
With an L.
with an L and one P and two C's.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't know how to spell it still. Mary, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It was
It's
a lot of
been a
fun.
joy and getting to know you guys and your experiences.
Oh, thank you so much.
you.
I'm so glad we got to learn about this
Me
today.
too. Me too.
Yeah,
for
a
sure.
lot of great information.
So I have at least 3 families here, right?
Maybe.
And we're all going to her house.
That's right. We're going to go to
Yeah.
her house.
It's
and
always a
she
party
celebrate.
there.
You have enough people, and we do. It is
Yeah.
always a party
Yeah.
for sure.
It'll be a party for sure.
Oh, Mary, thanks again for joining us
Thank
today.
you very much for having me. It's great.
That'll wrap up the Ripple Effect for today. Thanks to Solidarity Community Federal Credit Union. She's Kim Graves. I'm Jessica Osbrook. Thanks so much for watching.